They say her cry can pierce the soul, a weeping not of this world, but born from it, a curse that rides the river wind. This is not a legend, this is her story. They call her La Llorona, the weeping woman, but before she became grief incarnate, she had a name, Maria. She was born in 1763 in a village pressed between the mountains and the Magdalena River in central Mexico. Her mother was a healer, her father unknown. The villagers called her beautiful, but warned their sons not to stare too long. Some said her eyes could hypnotize. Others that her voice made birds stop singing. By 15, she was betrothed to a local blacksmith, but Maria wanted more. She read, she wandered, she sang at the edge of the river each night. She said the water spoke to her, that it remembered. Then came Don Alvaro de Montalvo, a Spanish nobleman with gold in his coat and secrets in his smile. He saw her, desired her, and for the first time in her life, Maria felt seen. He brought her flowers, pearls, letters scented with rose oil. He spoke of cities beyond the mountains, where carriages rolled through gold-paved streets. Within a year, she bore him twins, 2 sons with his eyes and her voice. He built her house near the water. Promise marriage, promise forever, but promises like river tides change. One day, he rode past her home with another woman draped in lace, wearing his ring. Maria stood by the water, her sons clinging to her legs. She watched as her dream turned to ash. That night, the river rose. They say she walked the banks barefoot, her white dress trailing behind her like smoke. The wind howled, but she didn't shiver. Her heart had gone silent. In the fury of grief, she held her sons close and walked into the water. When they stopped struggling, she let go. Moments later, her scream ripped through the valley, a sound that made birds drop from trees. She tried to save them, tried to find them, but they were gone, and when dawn came, so was she. Days later, her body was found downstream, tangled in reeds, her eyes open, her mouth agape, as if still screaming. The priests refused to bury her on consecrated ground, but the old woman knew her spirit would not rest, and so the river kept her forever. But death was not the end. It was only the beginning of her legend, her curse, her search. In 1798, a traveler reported hearing wailing near the Magdalena. His horse refused to cross. That same night, a child was found drowned in bed, no signs of struggle, no water in his lungs. In 1831, a hacienda burned to the ground. Survivors claimed a woman in white had walked calmly into the fire, whispering Miss Hijos. By the early 1900s, her tale had spread through every corner of Latin America, morphing with the cultures it passed through. But one thing always stayed the same. She takes children, especially those left unattended, especially those whose parents forget to say, "I love you," before sleep. Some say it was never about the river, that Maria made a pact as she died, that a dark spirit, ancient and ravenous, offered her eternity. She could roam forever, see her sons and every crying child, but she would never stop weeping, and she would never stop searching. In 1912, a curandera in Oaxaca traced La Llorona's path, said she moved like a shadow following the moon, tethered to bloodlines. Maria's descendants, cursed by her sorrow, marked by her pain, touched in their sleep by icy hands and murmurs in the dark. She visited them in dreams, in lullabies that twisted into screams, in mirrors fogged from the inside. Those who saw her described her the same way, a woman in white, soaked in river water, hair clinging to her face, voice broken, arms outstretched, always crying, never speaking, unless she mistook you for her child. Her name was Sofia Herrera, a journalist, 32, born in El Paso, but raised in Mexico City. She had seen things most wouldn't dare publish, but nothing prepared her for what she found when she returned home. Sofia returned after her mother's sudden death. The coroner said suicide, but her mother had been healthy, devout, careful with her rituals. Only one thing stood out, her final voicemail to Sofia, a whisper, "She's here, she wants the children." Sofia began digging, interviewed priests, midwives, historians, shamanic elders. All said the same name, La Llorona. Then the hauntings began. Water in her sink turned black. Clocks ticked backwards. Her niece sleepwalked to the canal. A neighbor's baby was found on the porch dry, but with eyes wide and unblinking, mouth silently screaming, and always the same phrase caught in her recordings. Miss Hijos. She discovered an old diary, its leather cracked with time, written by Isabel Montalvo in 1899, a direct descendant. Isabel had seen La Llorona too, and she left instructions to stop her, return what was taken, restore what was drowned. But what had been taken? And from whom? The storm hit just after dusk. Thunder like drums of war, rain like knives. Sophia's niece vanished from her bed. Wet footprints trailed down the hallway, out the door, and toward the old canal. Sophia followed. Lightning tore the sky open. The water boiled. And there, in the shadows of the reeds, she stood. La Llorona, her face hidden. Her arms cradling something that wasn't there. Her sobs louder than the storm. Sophia screamed, begged. Take me, not her, La Llorona said. And her face was Sophia's. In that instant, Sophia saw it all. Maria drowning, her sons calling. The curse spiraling across centuries, every child taken. Every scream unanswered. Sophia stepped into the river, held La Llorona's hands, trembling, drenched, and placed a mirror between them. Look, Sophia whispered. See what you became. The ghost screamed. A sound that split the heavens, that turned water to ice, then silence. They found Sophia hours later, soaked, alive, her niece asleep in her arms, breathing. Sophia never spoke of what she saw, but she moved far from the water, far from mirrors, and never had children. La Llorona is not just a ghost. She is the scream of every mother broken by grief, the shadow of generational sorrow, the echo of love twisted by pain. And if you hear her cry, do not follow, do not answer, because she is still looking, and she never forgets a child.